Hey guys, it's Lou here, and I know some of you are wondering, why hasn't he released his first video yet? Well, believe it or not, I already have a video ready to load, but unfortunately my stinking laptop cannot convert it over because my laptop's just not powerful enough. So I need to get a more powerful machine that can actually do all the work it needs to do to convert these videos into YouTube things and blah, blah, blah. So I can't do one just yet. Then I got thinking about it. What would be more fun than to ask Santa Claus for a good, awesome computer for Christmas? Then I got to think about, you know what? Let's do something more fun for my first video. How about we do Lou's top 10 Christmas movies? What better time than now to come up with my list of what I think are the 10 best Christmas movies to be watching every year. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, first off, let's do the honorable mentions before we get into the top 10. I've got 3 honorable mentions that are all pretty good, so they're in no particular order. First off is the 2004 Christmas with the Cranks, starring Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. I like this one because I like Tim Allen. I've always liked him because of just the way he delivers all his, the way he acts is really fun. And Christmas with the Cranks is kind of an on-the-nose type of comedy, a little off the wall, but I really like it. Dan Aykroyd's in it, and it's just a really good movie about a family who usually does a Christmas party every year, and the daughter decides to go away to do some mission trip, and she comes back early with the boyfriend, and it just all hell ensues because now they got to put on a party that instead of going on this cruise, and it's just some good comedy that I really, really like. I love the one-liners in that movie. I never get tired of it. An old school one is 1987 Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Steve Martin and John Candy. A little bit not so much on the Christmas side, even though Christmas is in the background about 2 guys trying to get home. But it follows these 2 genius, old school, some of the greatest of all time comedians as they try to get home to their loved ones for Christmas, and they just run into all kinds of problems, and there's just so many one-liners. It is truly a guy's movie with everything that those 2 go through, the way they got to share a hotel, and just, those scenes I'm talking about. It's just nonstop fun. And, if I get a chance to watch it, I love watching that movie. And of course, the last one is 1996, Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. About a dad who, is trying to find because, one time or another, all of us parents are trying to find that perfect Christmas gift that our kids want. We go through all kinds of, things to get this present. And this one happens to be, what Sinbad's character says Turtle Man, but it's actually Turbo Man, the action figure. And just what the parents go through and they fight. And it's off the wall comedy. And I really like that one just because, again, there's some good one-liners. The mad dash when these parents are all fighting to get, the last Turbo Man that's in store, and there's the parents fight, and it's just good stuff. I really like that movie, to watch if you need something else to watch. So with that, here are the top 10. Coming at number 10 is 1988 Die Hard. I know it's kind of on the fence. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? Well, it actually is. It takes place in California, and it's during Christmas time because Bruce Willis's character, John McClane, is getting over there to see his wife that they've been separated, to try to rekindle, see if there's any way to keep their marriage going. And, we all know the movie. It's a great one. It's a classic. It's good action mixed, you got the Christmas in there, and it's just a really good movie that, I always watch, every year because, who doesn't like a good shoot 'em up, blow 'em up? You throw Bruce Willis in there when he's at his best. And Christmas movie, you can't ask for anything more. So that's number 10, Die Hard. Coming in at number 9 is the 2003 classic Elf, starring Will Ferrell. Now, I struggled with this one because I kind of sort of like Will Ferrell, even though he kind of acts the same in all of his movies. I don't want you guys coming hammering on me on that comment, but I just, in my opinion. But I saw this movie a lot with the kids, and it's got a lot of funny stuff. In the movie, a lot of holiday about, Buddy the Elf, played by Will Ferrell, who doesn't believe that he's a normal person because he's grown up with elves his whole life, and he goes to New York City to find his dad, and played by James Caan. And it's a really good movie. It's really funny. There's a lot of funny moments in that movie that when my kids were growing up, my son, when the movie came out, my son was 3, and my daughter was 5 at the time. No, 4, getting ready to be 5. And we saw it a lot in theaters, and then when it came out on DVD, we saw it all the time. And we still watch it, once a year. I'll throw it on because it's still fun to watch. But I still wanted to include it because it's a timeless movie, and there's still a lot of good stuff in that movie. So number 9, Elf. Coming in at number 8 is the 1984 classic Gremlins. Yes, Gremlins, come on, how can you not like it? Set at Christmas time, and once again, it's about a dad who gets this really cool Mogwai for his son, a cool pet, but there's 3 rules that he can't break, and unfortunately, Billy breaks those 3 rules, and we end up with all kinds of chaos in that movie. I remember when it came out, it was really fun to watch, because one thing growing up at that time, I was 10 years old, the puppetry and just all the cool stuff that happened. And, it never gets old no matter how old you get. That's still just a really good movie. There's some good moments, and you can tell at the time, all the cool movies that were coming out, kind of like when Gizmo has the little red bandana like Rambo, because, Rambo was really big at the time. And there's a little scene in there where, he reflects on that movie that Gizmo watched a lot of, while he was in Billy's room. So number 8 is Gremlins. Coming in at number 7 is another good classic, 1995, While You Were Sleeping, with Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. Yes, okay, people are like, oh, come on, really? You go from Gremlins to that? Well, it's a good one. It's a good, it makes you feel good, about Sandra Bullock plays Lucy, who, doesn't really have a family because her dad had passed away a couple years ago, so she was all alone, and she rescues a guy who falls into the train tracks being mugged, and she saves him, and, he ends up being in a coma, and she saves him, and it's just, the family comes, and they think that she's his fiance, and it just, from there, it just kind of blows up. It's really fun. It's a really fun movie, because it just kind of hammers home family and the importance of being around people you love and just being included, so you're not alone at Christmas time. And, there's just some good, fun moments in that movie that, I watch it every year, and I still crack up at some of the really funny moments, the scenes, especially like, talking about when he says, you're leaning, just something dumb, but the guys get it. It's just one of those really cool movies that never gets old, and I suggest if you haven't seen it, take a moment and watch it. You'll thank me. So coming in at number 7, While You Were Sleeping. Coming in at number 6, we're going to jump up a bunch of years to 2015, the movie Krampus. Yeah, so I'm jumping all over the place with these things, but Krampus is really cool because we hadn't had a really cool Christmas movie come out in a while at that time, and of course, Krampus came out, and it's really cool, coming from the haunt industry, and what I do with the haunt, we did do a Christmas themed haunted attraction, and it was really cool. We dressed out all of our characters as Krampus, as the elves, and when this movie came out, it just kind of hammered home. It was so fun to do these different characters, and I even dressed up as my version of Krampus, and it was really cool because of the puppetry, and just they went old school with the gags in this movie. Some CGI, but they really try to stay away from that and just stay true to just practical effects. And if you ever are bored and you want to watch something neat after you watch Krampus, watch the behind the scenes, the making of this film. It is really neat. The set design, how they did the storm, and just Krampus himself, how big he is, and how the actor had to get in there and control the guy, control Krampus itself, and how, daunting of a task that was. And of course the elves, which are really cool, those cool characters. And of course the family, because that's one of the underlying things, is these families that are just two completely different families that learn how to work together, even though they're completely polar opposite. And it just makes for a really good movie because it's funny moments, little scary moments, but that's what makes Krampus so cool when it came out, and it still holds up. I love watching it every year. That was actually when I started this holiday season. That's what I started with. I had to watch Krampus first. So coming in at number 6 was Krampus. Coming in into number 5 spot, we got the 1994 classic. I'm going right back to him, Tim Allen, The Santa Claus. I know a lot of people be like, really? That's a top 5? For me, it is, just because Tim Allen was awesome in that movie, because he's the divorced dad trying to coexist with the ex-wife, and the kids in the middle of all of it. So there's that little underlying divorce line, but they really don't. I think they did a really good job of kind of touching on it, because let's be realistic in today's era. There's separated families, and you got the 2 Christmases and whatnot, how they can be kind of different. There's a scene where they go to Denny's and you see all the single dads with their kids, and it's a kind of a sad moment or whatever, but trying to make the best of it. But Tim Allen, I think he's really funny in this one, because he just delivers so many little cheap shots and little gut shots to the ex-wife when they're talking to the kid, when they say they're not arguing, and it's just nonstop. It's really awesome to watch, and I always crack up when I watch this movie, just because I just love the way Tim Allen is in this movie. So coming in at number 5 is The Santa Claus. Coming in at number 4 is the 1990 classic Home Alone, starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, and Daniel Stern. What's not to like about this movie? It has everything. It's got the slapstick comedy. It's got just the wacky, over-the-top gags about Kevin, who gets left home alone while his family goes away to Paris because they miscounted him. So he's got to defend his house against the wet bandits as they try to rob, these houses on his neighborhood, while the whole neighborhood's pretty much gone for Christmas. What's not to like about this movie? It's awesome. The soundtrack is great. And Joe Pesci is awesome because, if you've seen him in his earlier stuff at the time when it came out, Godfather, Goodfellas, all these, gangster movies. And he gets to try and do something more fun, something that's different for him. And it's great to see him. He's really good. Daniel Stern, never go wrong with the guy. I still crack up no matter how many times I watch this movie, which I watch every year. I still crack up every time Kevin grabs that tarantula and puts it on his face. And he just lets out that scream. You all know the scream. I crack up just as much as I did the very first time I saw it. My kids love watching that movie too. They still crack up, when they watch the movie, and because it's a classic. What's not to like about the movie? It's, if you haven't watched it, you'd have to be living under a rock to not have seen it. But if you haven't, you need to watch it. So coming in at number 4 is Home Alone. The top 3. Very hard to rank these 3. I could almost intermingle them, flip any 3 of them the way I want, but just for now, I'm going to run with how I listed it, and we're going to start with number 3, the 1989 classic National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Chevy Chase, Randy Quaid, Beverly D'Angelo. You've seen the movie. There's just, you can quote, every family watches that movie, or you can quote just about the entire movie. There's so much one-lines. It's an awesome, movie. Everyone knows that I don't need to really summarize it, but it's just a funny movie, because I remember watching an interview one time after the movie had come out, and they're talking to Randy Quaid, and, they're talking about his character, Cousin Eddie. He's just such an awesome character, and we're talking about the guy. I think it was on David Letterman, I think it was, and we were talking about it, and he was saying like every family has got a Cousin Eddie in their family, and if you look around, you don't see a Cousin Eddie, it's probably you. And it's so funny because it's so true. I think every family, every single one of us has got the Cousin Eddie where he's family, you have to love the guy, but you're kind of like, oh God, when is this guy gonna go home? Because it's just, it just brings so much, angst to the family. But it's just, and the movie is just awesome. I never get tired of watching it, because it's just good fun with that movie. It's a little over the top, but again, it's great. It's just great comedy. So at number 3 is Christmas Vacation. Coming in at number 2 is the 1993, again, some may say that this is a Christmas movie. I say it is. Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. This one holds a special place in my heart. I just love it. The stop motion animation, it was phenomenal. It still is. It still holds up to this day. The soundtrack is awesome. That's why this movie is up high on my list, because you can sing all the songs. It's just, the cast is awesome. We all know the story. about Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King, who's tired of doing Halloween, crosses over and wants to take over Christmas, but he doesn't understand that the Halloween stuff does not necessarily go with Christmas. But again, Krampus is out there, haha. But it's just a really good movie. I think, I'm wearing Jack. I think 90% of my shirts are Nightmare Before Christmas shirts. I have so much different things related to Night Before Christmas. There he is right there, Zero. So I just love the movie and everything about it. Again, that's another one of the movies I put on every year. So coming at number 2 is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Coming in at number 1, some of you might say, there's no way that should be at number 1. Again, this is my list, and I really like this movie. I watch all these movies every year, but this one, it's on Christmas Day, 24 hours for the whole day, and you all know it because maybe three different TV stations play it. Is A Christmas Story. Came out in 1983. It's just a classic. It's just a classic about what a kid wants for Christmas and what his parents really don't want to give him, and just the problems he has to go through to try to get his parents to buy him what he wants for Christmas. And it's an old school movie, very heartfelt. I love it. Every Christmas Day, it is on from the time I wake up till the network, shuts it off. So it's on all day, and I may end up watching it, in pieces, but I put it all together. I may watch it 3 times in a day, maybe even 4. And also too, my brother lives up in Ohio, and one year we got a chance to go up to and see the actual Christmas house. You'll see pictures here. And it was just neat to walk in and get a really cool behind the scenes trivia about the movie itself, and being able to be inside where they shot and just look everywhere. And it was just really cool to be able to stand outside the house and just see like, oh wow, they shot the movie here, and get a really cool behind the scenes trivia, like I said a second ago, about the movie and what, how this dude sold the house and put it out there on eBay, and someone bought it and flipped the house back into this, and it's making a ton of money. And so I think that's why this movie is also up there, because when I watched the movie, it's like, hey, I was in that bathroom. It's just kind of neat to be able to say I was there. But this top 3: Christmas Vacation, Nightmare Before Christmas, A Christmas Story. I could flip-flop any of those 3 at any point in time. It just depends. But, I really struggled with this list. And, but yeah, number 1 is A Christmas Story. So there you have, there's my top 10 Christmas movies of all time in my view. I didn't go into the old school ones, from like Miracle on 34th Street or all these really old schools. I might do another video to include those, because there's some really good classics. I'm just going with what I grew up, because, I was born in 1974. And so all these movies I was going through is what I know. So that's why these kind of stick with me. But, everyone's list is different. I was online looking at everyone's different lists, and it was really neat to see where, like, some of my movies weren't even on people's lists. But, for me, this is, they hold special places in my heart. I just love it. Just kind of get set in your ways for Christmas movies and what you like. And so tell me what you think. If you liked, put your comments at the bottom. Let me know what you thought of my list. If I'm crazy, or I'm way out there, if I'm pretty much on the nose, I think I want to say I'm on point with these movies that I've listed. Let me know what you think. What are your top 10 Christmas movies? What you watch every year with your family? If you like this video, make sure to hit a little like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell so you can get more notifications as I start to put out more of these videos. Hopefully I'll get a new computer for Christmas. That way I can actually get my other videos out there, and that way you can get some, really get some traction going. So I hope to see you guys soon. Take care.